Hello my crafty friends, Corrine here from Corrine Crafts. I hope you are well. Well, have you been doing lots of lovely crafting? I have been so excited to get into my craft room lately because I've been able to craft what I wanted as I wanted, which really makes me happy. Now today's project, as I'll explain in the video, started off in my mind as an all white card. We've got quite a lot of white, but we've got quite a bit of colour too. It sort of changed as it was developed. But isn't this absolutely gorgeous? I wanted to have a play with this new white texture paste that I've got. I wanted to have a go at doing white texture paste on a white background. And then I ended up some gilding wax and some paint splats and then a bit of coloured paper. So it didn't end up as a white card, I thought. But I still think that's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to show you now how I made this. This card, as so often happens with a lot of my cards, doesn't finish going down the route that I initially planned it to. So this was going to be do some white texture paste onto some white card and have a really white card. I've sort of put bits together as I've been going along. Still don't know how it's going to totally look, but it seems to be coming out different already. So let's have a go. I think these are often the most fun cards to put together. So I've got a stencil. This was from my Meadow Flora, but it could be anything. I just wanted a stencil that sort of went across the most of a piece of card. Now this stencil has this bit of foliage down here, but that made it too big for the card. Now this piece of card is 5 inches by 6.5 inches. I didn't want to be any bigger, so as you can see, I've masked off my stencil so that I only use the bit I really want to use. So I just felt like doing it that way, it was safer because I knew I was less likely to to run off the edge of my, to go into the grooves that I didn't want to. So I'm just putting up a couple of bits of tape. You can use one of your sticky mats, but this actually is quite a sticky stencil, so it'll be perfect like that. Now this is a fairly new to me. It's an opaque texture paste in white. My last texture paste, you probably remember me seeing me, had quite a lot of grey in it. Now you can see this reminds me of royal icing. It's got that same sort of texture. I love it. So all I'm going to do is do this. Now if you find it easier, you could always mask off that side as well. Put a piece of tape down there if you're not very confident with your control of your palette knife, because we really don't want it to go any further than we do. Now I've put the stencil up to the top so it can go on there, and then I can put this onto here. I will need to leave this to dry. I tend to leave texture paste to dry. I've got a lump in there. Texture paste to dry overnight, but you can force it dry a lot quicker if you want to with a heat gun. Now one of the things, you can achieve different effects with texture paste. So you can put it on and really stipple it through so that it stands proud, and then you get quite a raised effect. Or you can do like I'm doing and sort of run your palette knife over the top once you've covered all the bits, take up any excess, and then what you're going to get is you're going to get it just nice and sort of just the height of your stencil. I knew there was a lumpy bit in there. You're going to just get the height of your stencil, and that's what I want. I don't want it too proud, but I'm not getting it quite very smooth here. There we go. That should do. So all I would do then is put my lid back on my texture paste, and then I'm just going to lift this up. I'm going to do it nice and neat, lift away from my card so that I don't squidge. Make sure you get that in the wash nice and quickly. Look, I've got a little bit of texture paste just there, but look at that. I love that white on white. Doesn't it look effective? Really pretty. You can see I've just got a little bit of texture paste on there which clears off. Now leave that to dry, and then you can be doing lots to that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now I did, like I say, my plan was I was going to have the white on the white, so it looked a bit like you'd embossed a piece of white card. Then I changed my mind, as I do. And one of the things I wanted to do was add a little bit of colour, not a lot. So all I've done is I've got my paint palette. Now imagine that's dry. Mine's not dry, but just pretend it's dry. And then I've got my watercolour shimmer paints. And then I've got a wet paintbrush. And I'm just going to go over, I'm just going to sort of mix. I've just been using this, so it's still quite damp. And then all I would do is just a few little taps along there, just to add a little bit of you know, a few speckles. Really not too much at all. There we are. That's all I would do. The tiniest bit. And can leave that to properly dry. Once it's properly dry, I'll bring one in, and I've actually done most of it to it, so you can leave that one there. All I've done is I've got a little bit of gilding wax, a little bit on my finger, and believe you me, you take most of it off. And then I've just gone over the dry texture paste, just to add a few little hints of gold. You can add in as much as you like or as little. And it's really lovely because it catches really well. I'm going in with the smallest amounts because I really want it just to be a hint. But obviously I can't do it to this one because it's wet. If I touch that, it's just going to smudge. But that one had just been left overnight because I actually put it together last night. The gilding wax, it's so thin, it'll be dry within seconds. But doesn't that look lovely? So I think I need to decorate. As I said, it was going to be all white, and then I decided not to. So I found this piece of paper from one of my paper pads. I think it goes that way up. Isn't that really pretty? And I've cut a bit off. I think it came, look, that came off there, look, or somewhere like that. And I've just put it onto, mounted it onto some craft card, and I'm just going to pop it onto there. Now, if I'd moved this across, I wouldn't have had any underneath, which in hindsight I might have preferred. If I want none underneath, the gap, yeah, it's too close. It's far too close. I'm just going to have to grin and bear it. Now, this is actually longer than my card, but I would rather do it this way because you get a better finish than maybe cutting it short or what have you. Come on, where's my glue not coming out? But yeah, you know me. I mean, how many projects have I started on this channel where I said, oh, it's going to be a clean and simple white card, and it hasn't been because I just never end up with a clean and simple white card. It just never ends up that way. Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to do the gold was because if you look here, you can see that it's got the gold flecks through there. So I just thought if that just runs through, it's going to look so much better. I'm going to turn that over. Then I'm going to get some nice, good, sharp scissors. And I'm just going to put the scissors up to the edge of there and then snip. And that way I know it's going to be a perfect finish. Now, the only thing with it doing it that way is you don't get the craft top and bottom, but I'm happy with that. I don't mind that. I wanted it to look like that, and I'm going to pop that one onto here. So you can see it's the smallest border, but because it matches and that runs off there, it's going to look really, really pretty. So again, a wet glue. Again, you can be using your dry glues like your spray adhesives or your finger lift tape, your red liner. It's entirely up to you. This one is mine because it's my choice, because I just know it's going to allow me that little bit of wiggle room. And this will work so well because, sorry, can't talk and line it up. Because that is the same pattern back there, it really, really works. I'm just going to turn that over. I'm just going to give that a press. Now, oh, I've got my stamp pressure tool here. I'm just going to give that a quick, it's not that easy to do because of the texture paste, and this is another reason why you need it all to be dry so that you can give it a really good burnish. There we go, look, it's caught there. That's absolutely gorgeous, and that is going to go on my card base. Now, this started off as an 8-inch card and I've trimmed it down. So if you remember, my card topper was 5 by 6.5 inches and my base is 6 by 7.5 inches. So if you see, I've only gone up by 1 inch because some of those borders are really, really skinny. So whatever you want it to be, just go up by 1 inch or however it works for you. So let's put some tape on the end. Again, I'm using my big roll. You know, this one is the one that always comes out. So we can come one piece. It's 1.6 mil, so it's giving me that height, giving me that interest, but it's not going to be enough to cause a problem if you need to transport it. But actually, having said that, this project is going to have a great big flower on the front, so I am going to have to find a special box for it. There we go. Look at this. I've done it again. Look at that. How do I do that sometimes? I don't know. My spatial awareness is rubbish, but I've done that a few times now where I've just randomly cut a bit of tape off my roll and it's been the perfect measurements. Somebody's smiling down on me today. Keep smiling, that would be nice. So take the back off there. And then we're going to go in with our wet glue. This is just a PVA glue. And I just wet that down there, all the way down. And that's going to, because that layer was super skinny. Super skinny. Oh, I've got glue in my hands. There we go, because look at that, it's come off the edge there. So that gives me a chance to move it. I just wanted some point of difference between the pattern and the white, and you can see that's what we've got. It is about, oh, it's about 3/16 of an inch, so it's really skinny. But how about that? Isn't that really pretty? Now I could call that a day and just add in, oops, a lovely sentiment somewhere, and do you know what, it would probably do. But I decided it's a Corrine card, so we're going to go a bit more. I've got my Sizzix Thinlits. It's this gorgeous rose. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? I love this one. I bought it, and then when I got it, I was a bit scared of it for a little while. I was like, I don't know how to use this. I don't know when I'm going to use it. But this is not the first time I've used this. So let's move that out of the way. So in here, I've got a centre. I've got a lovely big set of petals, and I've got a leaf. Now, I've cut the leaf out of some greens that I thought went quite well with that paper. I've also cut the centre out, just out of a nice yellow. And then I've cut the petals out. And I've cut the petals out, 2 out of white and 2 out of vellum. And then all I did was just like I did, sorry about that, that was just me moving stuff off my box. Just like I did with the card, I just take this, I'm going to get my paints, let's move that across. This one I started to shape, then realised it wasn't the one I wanted to shape because I hadn't even put the splats on. Now I don't want lots, but I just, because it's a white flower, a white flower could look a little bit harsh if we're not careful. So I'm just going to splat a few little gold splat. You could actually come in with the pinks to match the papers if you wanted. I need a bit more water. My paint's thickening up, it's dry, it's soaking back in. These paints just last forever because if you just leave them to dry, they do. Right, that like that. Now, they're such small splats that they are going to take seconds to dry. And you'll probably notice when you see me on the video, I've started wearing a pinny now because I keep putting splats of paint onto my clothes, which is not good. So all you're going to do is I'm going to take this one. This was the one that's dry. Just give those a second to dry. And I'm just going to work this. So this paper is about, it's 220, 250. It's not what I use for my card bases. And then obviously vellum. Now vellum is harder to shape, but vellum is such a brilliant tool. And I've got quite a few projects with some vellum on now. So, I really do like it. Let's see, is this dry? No, right. I'm just going to blow those dry with my heat tool. Wow, that word went then. With my heat tool, and then I'll come right back to you. Right now, it is quicker to dry on paper than it is on vellum because paper is porous. So obviously the paint dries a lot quicker on a porous surface than it does on a non-porous surface because there's no effort obviously for the water to go. So yeah, it does take a bit longer. But I think I've got it dry, or I've got it dry enough. So let's just go round. I don't know if I'm going to need all 4 layers. Initially I was just going to do white, and then I thought actually this could look really pretty if you do some vellum over the top to make it look quite, delicate. Like I say, it's quite hard with the vellum. You've got to really work it. Work that vellum, and then it should come into the flower shape. Okay, so I've got my flower shape, my flat petals, and I've also plugged in my heat gun. So let me just reach over so you'll see the cord. So there we are. See if I can move the plug. A bit less obtrusive. Oh, I also need to shape my centre. Like that. I'm just going to shape the centre a bit, and I'm just going to go around the edges. Just go around those bits so that when I turn it over, it's a bit more shaped. The smaller the ball tool, the more curved it'll get. Now, the other thing I've been into my gems, And I've got these. So I'm trying to decide whether I want pink in the centre, white or the centre. And that I don't think I'll know until it's finished, till I see how big the centre is. So the first thing I'm going to do, now that is the same way around. So I'm going to turn it nearly 180. I don't want it 180 degrees, otherwise they won't be staggered. So I'm going to pop that like that. And I'm going to get my ball tool and I'm just going to press down on that glue. That helps to shape it. Just go around, get that nice and shaped. Then we're going to do the same with the vellum. Now don't worry about the glue. We're not going to go heavy with the glue, but by putting the centres in, it's going to hide all that anyway. So let's do that again. I'm trying to make sure it's staggered and make sure, so I've got one there, the same point, it's going into different places. And then I think I'll do that one. That point can go that way for this one. Put it there. This is going to be such a pretty flower. And then we can put it there. Right, let's just press and hold that for that glue to grab. And you can even work that glue. This is one of the reasons why we use hot glue, because it's so malleable and you can shape it. Let's put that bit there. Then let's just put the centre in. And then we can put that in like that. I'm just shaping the flower around that centre. Let's just lift little bits. And look at that. Right, now this is going to go on my card. It's going to be really, look at that onto there. So what do we think? With the white centre, looks pretty. With the pink centre, now I do like that. Or, that's got a rogue bead on it. With the gold, oh, that gold twinkly centre looks nice, isn't it? And it fits really well. That fits really well. But I quite like the pink, to pull out the pinks. Let me have one more look. Keep thinking, is it too small? But then again, I like the, oh, decisions. I might have to make two so that I've got one of each colour. Now I'm going to go pink. You might disagree with me. I'm sorry if you do. And I might regret it later. But there you go. Right, so now we've got to remember it's a bit concave, so we need to make sure there's plenty of glue. If you'd rather, you could use your 3D glue gel for this. There we go. So let's just then drop that on there. Yeah, that needed all that glue to hold that up, because it's like a little well underneath. If you don't have enough glue, that'll fall off. And there, oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Such a pretty flower. Don't worry about glue strings. Glue strings can always be sorted out at the end. And I'm going to pop that just there. I'm going to have it going off over the edge. I'm going to put this. Now you'll notice I haven't put my foliage on yet. Now this is quite a heavy flower, so make sure you put enough glue on. I want to break that edge. So you will need to make your card, box or envelope a little bit bigger, but I don't mind about that. Let's just press that down. Now I'm going to put my foliage on. I'm going to grab a little bit of 3D glue for this, because if I put this foliage in the centre, it's not going to show very much, which is why I didn't want to. So all I'm going to do, a little bit of 3D glue, and then I'm going to lift it, you see, just like that. Now, do I want two there, or do I'm going to come down this side? Come down this side. You see, I promise you, I never know how these cards are going to go until they're finished. And then, oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, I have two sentiments. I have the sentiment that you just saw, cut it out in pink, stamped in pink or stamped in the gold. I think I might actually go with the pink, because it goes with the centre. I want it to tuck under, but if I go too far, I'm going to lose the first little bit. So let's just pick this up. I don't want it down here. That looks quite nice. I quite like that. Or we could go up there. Can you still see? Or do we tuck it slightly under there? Or do we go down here? Or do we do it just here? So many options. Actually, I might do it there. Right, that's where I'm going to do it. Again, 3D glue gel is perfect for this. Absolutely. So thin, it's spinning. There we go. And then I'm going to pop that just there. Sorry if you disagree with that, but I never know. You could and ah for ages. And that's all I'm going to do. Now, I'm not going to go in with any gems. I'm not going to go in with any pearls because I've got the gold splats and I've also got the gold gilding paste. Gilding wax, that's the word. So I think that's enough. But look at that flower. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? As I said, when I started prepping this, it was going to be a virtually all white card, which is why I've done the white flower. But it hasn't ended up that way, has it? It's changed. It's changed as I've got it ready and as I've created it. But I'm really, really happy with this. Now, that says Fabulous Friend. I could use it for a birthday. I could just use it as a notelet to give to a friend who's been kind or who's going through a difficult time. You know, I love sentiments like that, which make the card multi-purpose, multi-use. There you go. What do you think of that? Do you like that? Something a little bit different, isn't it? Bit of texture paste, a nice white flower, and then a few little gold accessories, and that's the job done. Well, thank you for watching that. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, I will put my links to the side, one for another clip and one to my subscribe button, and if you can, that would be amazing. And as always, there's lots of details in the description down at the bottom, including the like button. Please do that because it really helps my reach, and also my link to my Buy Me a Coffee page. So that is very helpful if you can click on that as well. So until next time, my crafty friends, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have a go, if this inspires you to have a go, please don't forget to share your makes with me. So until next time, my crafty friends, you take care. Bye for now.